Hello, and thank you for watching another YouTube video. So this one's basically going to teach you my tips and tricks on how you can become a morning person rather than being a night owl, sleeping your days away and just being more productive. So I actually used to be a huge night owl and I'd always go to bed really late, could not wake up before 9 a.m. Never got anything done, so I'll just give you a little rundown of how I was and then my tips and tricks on how I overcame that. Quick little fact as well, night owls aren't actually a thing. Studies have shown that we just perceive ourselves as a night owl because we go to bed late because of social media, TV, I don't know, drinking, whatever. So you go to bed late and then you just wake up late, and it's because you don't have a proper sleep pattern that you just can never adjust to the early mornings, so you perceive yourself as a night owl. Anyway, so my sleep pattern was just non-existent. So throughout school, I wasn't too bad, but I still would always go to bed a little bit too late. I went through a couple of phases when I started to get into gym a little bit, so I'd get up a bit early before school and just go on the rowing machine or something like that. Go to bed a little bit earlier. And then, you know, year 11, year 12, I was like, woo, cruises. And I just went to bed real late on weekends, was always trying to catch up on sleep during the week. And yeah, just had no sleep pattern. And I would always wake up at the very last second. I'd always run late for school. And then it just got worse and worse and worse from there. So after school, I started hairdressing. And I was going to bed probably 11, 12, and I struggled to get out of bed before 7, and when I did, I was just grumpy. I'd walk into work and I'm like, like just barely say good morning to anyone, couldn't talk for like 2 hours. I was just always fucked. And then got into hospo. Nuff said. You know, my shifts were just all over the place, like Friday, Saturday nights I was working until 5, 6, 7 in the morning, and then Sunday nights, Wednesday nights is when hospo workers would go out, so then I'd be out until God knows what time, sometimes party, wouldn't sleep for a few days because I made the wrong choices. And yeah, the list goes on. And then I started working in a gym and I worked the afternoon shift. So it wasn't as bad as hospitality, but I was still finishing at 10 p.m. every night. So I'd work the 2 till 10 shift, and still I was getting up. I couldn't get up before 9 a.m. I still struggled, and I was going to bed about 12-ish, and yeah, you would not see me getting out of bed before 9 a.m. And then I'd train before work, and then I'd be stressed because I didn't have enough time to train, and I was just always late. And then it wasn't until I left, I started doing some Chippy work for a little bit. So I was starting about 7, 8 in the morning. So that was getting me out of bed about 5:30ish, and I still wasn't heaps into the mornings then. So I literally, before bed, I would plait my hair, I would have my boots next to my alarm, and I would be like wearing my work clothes, and yeah, I would just do everything possible so I could sleep as much as possible. Like I would just eat while driving, and I still wasn't in the rhythm of mornings just yet. And then it wasn't actually until our long lockdown, so the 13-week one, where I started to really enjoy getting up early, and that was like I lost my Chippy job and then COVID happened. And it was actually, yeah, during lockdown, I really enjoyed waking up early. So I would get up about 5:30ish and take my dog for a walk, and just had a really nice day and just learnt to be a bit more mindful and appreciate the mornings and everything. And then from there, I became a morning person. So I'll run you through my tips and tricks on how I became a morning person, how I can get up so early that I do. Like now I will happily wake up at 3 in the morning and I'll either study or I'll train before work, which I love doing. So here we go. So I've written these down especially for you guys because I appreciate you all. So tip number 1, putting your alarm across the room. I cannot stress how important that is. Like it seems so simple, but it helps me so much. So I started doing that when I started the Chippy work because I was afraid I was going to miss my alarm because I just was not a morning person. So that is like the best tip I can give anyone. Put your alarm across the room. 1, it encourages you to not go on your phone while laying in bed before you go to sleep, so then you can fall asleep a bit earlier. 2nd, you literally have to get out of bed to turn your alarm off, so you'd be stupid to lay back down. So that is tip number 1. Tip number 2, have things to look forward to and work towards, because if you're just waking up, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to see such and such, whatever it is, you're not going to want to get out of bed in the morning. So have little things, little wins for the day to work towards, little positive things that you're excited about and actually makes you want to get out of bed. So when I first started turning my life around, I was still in hospitality at the time, but it was when I just started gym, and every morning I'd wake up, I would have my Oxy Shred on the bench, which is the first place I would kind of go in the morning. I'd have my Oxy Shred on the bench next to a glass of water, drink that, and I'm like, oh well shit, I need to do something now. So then I'd go for a walk in the sunshine, and that was something I really looked forward to. And then after that I'd have my breakfast, and then I'd go to gym. And each day I was like, oh my god, I get to work on myself today. So I'd spring out of bed excited to start my day. Yes, you can be too busy, but I think being busy working on yourself is so important, because if you wake up and you don't have shit to do, you're like, well, fuck, why do I need to get out of bed? So I think being busy working on yourself is super important, because you're like, well, I need to do this. I need to work on myself. I got to do these things. So you just spring out of bed, fresh as a daisy. Also, first thing to do when you wake up is drink heaps of water, and try to push having any caffeine until maybe an hour after waking up at least, because if you have caffeine really early, 1, it dehydrates you if it's like coffee or an energy drink or something like that. 2, you crash really early as well, and then that's when the headaches kick in, and then you drink more caffeine, you have caffeine later in the day, and then you struggle to sleep early at night. So all these little things will make you stay up later, and then you won't want to get up earlier, and you know, it's just this little cycle. So try smashing your water early and then opting for caffeine later. So at the moment, I usually get up about 3-4ish, just depending, you know, what my day entails that day. And I will try not to have any caffeine until about 8 a.m. If I'm training before work, I'll have like maybe half a scoop of pre-workout or some Oxy Shred if I feel like I need it, maybe for legs or something like that. Tip number 4. So this one, I made it somewhat in the middle, because I shouldn't really preach it if I don't do it very well. So it is actually, believe it or not, going to bed early and getting enough sleep. So a lot of people lecture me about this because I do not get enough sleep. I'm probably will run on about 6 hours roughly a night, which I think it's probably because I am quite busy that I'm like, oh, I have heaps of energy, but it's my brain just like, no, you can't stop. So yeah, getting enough sleep is very important. Like last night I got 8.5 hours sleep, which is so much for me. And I like woke up, I had dribble on my face, my hair was everywhere. I had puffy eye bags, and I had like those sheet lines, which means you had a real good sleep. And I feel really good now. I feel really good for it. So when I'm running on 6 hours, I feel fine in the morning, but then in the afternoon I just crash really hard. So yeah, getting enough sleep and going to bed early. So when I get up at 3-4ish, my aim is to be in bed by 7. It never happens, but that is the aim. When I first started working the morning shift in the gym, I was really good. I was going to bed about 7:30, getting up about 4:30 and walking my dog. So that was really good. But yeah, lately I've been a little bit naughty. I think it was when I started the electrical work and I was just working longer hours. So I was getting up at 3 to train beforehand, because some days I'd do 14 hours. I didn't want to train at night. And then, you know, working late, I wouldn't go to bed until about 8:30. So seems early for some people, but it's not enough. One little thing as well to remember is that being healthy and being successful is not sexy. Like, it is not sexy saying, yeah, I go to bed at 7 and I'm like always so busy. Like it's not sexy, but at the end of the day, do you want to reach your goals? Another important tip for a good morning routine as well, kind of linking with the only drinking water and pushing your caffeine intake to later, is trying not to touch your phone for the first hour or 2 hours or 3 hours, because when you think about it, a lot of time you look at your phone, you'll see the news, you'll see someone, you'll be like, oh, she's prettier than me or whatever. You know, trying not to touch your phone and look at negativity is so important for a positive day and being productive. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've looked up my phone in the morning And then I'll just be sitting on the couch for 3 hours and I'm like, shit, I've been just scrolling through Instagram looking at chicks' asses for the last 3 hours and I've achieved nothing but make myself feel like shit. So trying to push that out as long as you can as well is super important. And then not touching your phone at night as well, because if you look at stressful things then before bed, then you'll struggle to fall asleep. And then also the blue light, is it? Yeah, that light coming from your phone also keeps your brain wired and keeps you awake. So that's how to have a better morning and better sleep at night. Tip number 7 is having a nutritious breakfast. So some people oh my God, I can't say it. Intermittent fast, which is totally fine. But I know for me personally, every single time I've tried it, I've literally binged on food like a motherfucker and eaten like double or triple the amount I would have eaten that day. So I like to have a yummy breakfast, gives me lots of energy, and just if something I enjoy, so like something nice and sweet like oats, because then I'm like, oh, I had yummy food, I feel good today, it's gonna be a good day. So yes, that is another tip. And number 7 as well, if you have time, I try and always make time for it, but either journaling or just writing down something that you're grateful for or listening to a podcast, all those little things just sets you up for a positive day as well and gives you something to look forward to and makes you spring out of bed in the morning. So on my way to work, I'll always listen to a podcast, and I used to make a bit more time for my gratitude journal. Not so much anymore. I have been a little bit slack with that, I will admit. But that is something that I used to really, really look forward to. Whereas now I really enjoy listening to podcasts. I feel like, I feel like it's a little bit more, like I don't have to think as much, because sometimes at 3 in the morning, I don't really feel like thinking. So yeah, listening to podcasts and stuff like that, just filling your day with positivity. Because like I said, you're not going to want to get out of bed if you're in a negative mindset. So that's super important. So that is all of my tips. I kept this one very short and sweet, just like me. Because I've just moved house, so things are a little bit chaotic at the moment. Also, if you're wondering what's going on with my face, I just tanned because girl gotta look good in the gym, so I'm a little bit oompa loompa at the moment. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I really hope this is helpful, and let me know if you have any other tips and what works for you, because I'm interested to see if anything else could help me, and let me know if this has helped you as well. I always love to hear if I've helped anyone or inspired anyone. And please give me a little like and subscribe and a little share. It goes a very long way. And I'll see you on the next one.